Hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been quite a bit. I just recently had my spring break, and even though I didn't do anything particularly fun or go anywhere, I have been quite busy with baby chicks. We got 8 new ones, so that's been fun. I've been deep cleaning certain parts of the house that really needed it, and I've been working and just, I don't know, just trying to enjoy it. I've been partying a little bit with friends that I don't normally see. So spring break's over, unfortunately, and to say that I'm bummed is like a massive understatement, because I'm just over this semester right now, and I'm currently been in a reading slump. Like, I am liking the books that I'm reading, but I don't know, I'm just stuck. Like, I have just kind of been in this rut right now, and I can't seem to get out of it. So if you guys have any book recommendations to get out of a reading slump, I'd really enjoy that. But in my time away, which has only been like a week, but in that time I've done a lot of YouTube planning, and I'm really excited. I started a little journal, so I have some really cool video ideas and some reading goals for the year, which I know we're 3 months in now, but I figured today I'm gonna talk to you about some of my goals for the year as far as my personal reading, and then also some like fun little challenges and stuff that I'm gonna try to do this year. So I'm gonna start with my general 2025 reading goals, and again, I know we're 3 months in, but I have had these set since the beginning of the year. I'm just gonna, you know, talk to you about them because I'm in a slump and I don't really have any books to talk about right this second. The first goal I have is obviously most people set like how many books they want to read. I would like to try to read 55. That's really overreaching. I have set my goal as 50 for the last however many years, and last year was the first year that I hit my goal. But I'm hoping with this channel and some of the plans I have that it will force me to read a little bit more and I can get out of my slump. I typically read a lot more the second half of the year. The first half, I usually get the spring blues, which is so weird because most people are the opposite, but the springtime just really gets me in my feels, and I just am so unmotivated to do a lot of things. My second goal is I would really like to read more physical books. I tend to gravitate towards my Kindle when I'm lazy or when I want to lay in bed, and while the Kindle is really convenient, I would like to cancel my subscription for a little bit to Kindle Unlimited and try to get through more of my main library, because y'all see I have a lot of books and most of them are unread and I need to read them. Another goal I have is I would like to read some of the books that I've owned for a really long time. I didn't really become like a big book collector until I was probably like early high school, I'd say. So it's only been maybe, I don't even know, I can't even count, but it's been not too long that I've started collecting and my obsession has grown crazy. But I really want to try to read some of the books that I know have been sitting on my shelves because I feel bad for them. And also it's like, you know, if I read them and they're not a vibe, then I get rid of them and someone else can read them and hopefully they'll enjoy them more than I did. Another goal I have is I would like to read more classics. I know this seems like kind of odd, but I was originally an English major, and there's something about like being in an English class that I just kind of miss now being a STEM girl. So I do want to read more classics because I really like being able to read where certain tropes or, you know, big concepts came from and then seeing them applied into like today's books. A really hyper-specific goal I have is I want to read all of N.K. Jemisin's books. She has quickly become one of, or if not my favorite fantasy writer. I have read her Inheritance trilogy, and I currently am in the middle of the Broken Earth trilogy, so I think I need to buy her Dreamblood trilogy, and I think she has one other book. I know she's more famous for a lot of her short stories previously, but I do want to read her entire collection because I am obsessed with her writing. Y'all should check her out for sure. The next goal is also pretty specific, but there are about 4 fantasy writers that I have been dying to read, and it has just been years and I have not. So these 4 particularly are on a list for me, and the first being Brent Weeks. This is the Black Prism. I think this is his Lightbringer series. I know he also has the Assassins one, and I honestly am blanking on what it's even called, but I really want to get to that as well. So Brent Weeks is someone that I have been dying to get my hands on and read. I also have Joe Abercrombie. I hear tons of people talk about him, so I'd love to get into his first Law trilogy and see what the hype is about there. The other is huge in fantasy, and I see him more and more often, and that's John Gwynne. I actually own all of the Faithful and the Fallen, and I'd like to read I think it's the Bloodsworn saga, something like that. So I would like to read John Gwynne sometime this year because I love epic fantasy. I like really intense world building, and I heard that he's amazing with that. So the last author that I am really wanting to read at least one book from is Brandon Sanderson. I do own, I want to say, most of his books, to be honest, but I've just never picked one up. So, you know, I don't know where I'll start. Maybe I'll start with Tress of the Emerald Sea, being that I just got that and it's a standalone. Maybe I'll start with the Mistborn saga. I know tons of Brandon fans will probably start screaming and telling me like, hey, you know, there's a certain way to read them. So if there is and you recommend a way, let me know down below. But I do want to get to a Brandon Sanderson novel this year. So that kind of wraps up my general 2025 reading goals I've set for myself. Now I'm going to talk about a challenge that I want to do this year, and I've already started, and that's the ABC challenge. It's really basic. I'm not sure who created it, but you basically just read a book that starts with the letter of the alphabet. So you do all 26 letters. So I mean, for D, I read Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates, so that counts. For N, I read Near the Bone by Christina Henry. So, you know, it's kind of like that. My only rule that I've set for myself is to not use the word the, because a lot of books start with the, and I think that's kind of cheating as far as T. Plus I have a ton of other books, and it'd be really hard to fit. You know, it may not be actually that hard because I do own a lot of books, but it may be difficult for some if you use the word the for all of them, because a lot of books do start with the. The next thing I'm going to talk about is something that I've seen before in different ways and I've been wanting to try, and so while on my little break I decided to do some crafting and I made it. But that's a TBR jar, and I've seen people do it to where they write down all the books that they own that they haven't read and they throw it in there. The issue with that for me is I'm very much a mood reader, so if I pick one up and I'm like, oh, I'm not reading that, and there's no fun in that because it's supposed to be like a challenge for you. So I have taken the other way that I've seen people do, and I am doing the TBR prompt jar, and I think this is going to allow for a lot more freedom for me personally, since I am such a mood reader, but it's still going to challenge me to read things that maybe I wouldn't normally pick up at that time. So I just have this little basket. I do plan on getting like a pretty little jar because, I mean, aesthetically it would just look better, but in it I have little notes, and so I think like maybe once a month or whatever I will just pick up a couple of these and I'll try to read a book that is, you know, it fits the prompt. So this one is a book with a person on the cover. There's a whole bunch. A book with a number in the title. There's ones I've seen where it's, you know, read a book that came out the year you were born. There's so many. I honestly wrote, I don't even know how many, I want to say like 144 prompts, so that's gonna last me a long time because there's no way I'm reading 144 books in a year. But I went ahead and did that, and I think that's really gonna be a fun challenge to do. It's also gonna help me with 2 of my goals that I have this year, and one of those is reading more classics. I think that a classic is gonna fit into a lot of the prompts that I wrote down. And I also think it's gonna help me get through a lot of my physical books. And I think it's also going to be really good for me so that I can actually read books that I've had on my shelves for years. You know, while picking out the prompt and looking at my shelves, I may be like, oh, that book actually fits the prompt, but it's been on my shelves for 5+10 years, you know? So I think that this challenge is going to be a really good way to help me fulfill some of my general reading goals that I have. Something else that I kind of deep dived into during my break was the whole try a chapter videos that people do. And so I see people do like the read it or unhaul it, where they like, you know, will read a little bit and if it's not vibing they unhaul it. I've also seen like just the general try a chapter, where you try the first chapter of a bunch of books and whichever one you like the best you like stick with and you read. So I think I'm gonna start that as well. I'm actually really excited for it, and I have a couple ideas, like maybe I'll do like a young adult sci-fi and then like, you know, different vibes for it, which I think would be fun because I have a lot of books, and so I think that's also going to be a good little video idea to get me out of my comfort zone and reading books that I've had on my shelves for a really long time. I honestly think that's it as far as my general reading goals and some of the challenges and ideas that I want to do this year. I know there's a couple books that I'm like die hard I want to get to, but you know, again, I'm a mood reader, so I can say, oh my gosh, I'm gonna read that right now, and then, you know, 5 minutes later I'm gonna be like, oh, just kidding. So I'm really not one for TBRs, so that's why I really like these challenges and these ideas that I have found and kind of made my own, because it's really gonna challenge me as a reader to step outside my comfort zone and actually get through some of my enormous library that I own. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry that this wasn't super booky, but maybe you guys have the same reading goals, maybe you have different. I'd love to hear if you guys have ever done either the try a chapter videos, the read it or unhaul it, or the prompt jar. I would love to know and hear your thoughts on how that went for you and if it really helped you get out of your comfort zone. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will definitely be seeing you guys soon.